We are going the distance here in game number 5 between Method and the Leftovers. It's time for all the muffins to be grabbed. Who will get the win, Caldor?
When it comes down to muffins, I win.
You take all the muffins.
I eat them all.
Blueberry or chocolate? That's the real question.
Blueberry.
Blueberry all the way. No, I agree.
There's like also banana nut muffins.
Banana
They
walnut?
are
Oh.
amazing.
They're so good with a little bit of butter on top. Oh, can we go to game number 5? I'm thinking about muffins.
Like the
now.
good thing is there's like no shop nearby where I live that has them because if that I just would be fat.
I'm gonna bring you some muffins tomorrow. You wait, buddy. I know where to get the muffins. We go into Towers of Doom. Method with the pick, first pick. Coming over here to Leftovers when it comes to heroes. We always seem to end epic series on Towers of Doom.
Yeah, and I'm absolutely okay with it.
No, same.
Totally fine. I mean, this series was amazing. Again, if you have actually friends that are not watching this yet, and I can understand why, it's like early in Europe, it's early in the US, you know, maybe someone partied yesterday and didn't want to wake up in time. Guys, I'm going to tell you, you're a bad friend if you don't tell your friends, listen guys, catch those VODs, because these games have been, this is not only a hyped series and an important one, the games have been awesome. We've seen so many different heroes, cool strategies coming through, good execution, nice comebacks. Absolutely loving what we're seeing out of Leftovers and Method. And I gotta say, I actually think that Leftovers, we talk about improvement a lot, but for me, in my head, there was still a team, I'm waiting for them to falter. I'm waiting for the hype to be over, for that honeymoon phase to break apart, but they are just starting to establish themselves as a very stable, terrifying team at the top of Europe.
The work ethic is really paying off. It shows time and time again, week after week, tournament after tournament. These guys are serious. And just think about it. A year ago, open division, right? They had to work their way up to be some of the best here, and now they're competing with some of the best in Europe and fighting for those top slots.
Now, the one thing that I'm a little bit afraid of when we're talking about Leftovers is that maybe at this point their own expectations are just absolutely skyrocketing. And let's say they fall short. If Method, for example, wins this 5th game now, and if Leftovers don't really achieve what the goals that they might have had towards the upper end of the rankings within Europe, if that is something that brings them down in the long run.
Sure.
But if they can just keep that level head that they displayed at the Western Clash and just continue that continuous performance, then this is a team that is definitely here to stay. It's very impressive what they're pulling off right now. And that brings us back to the draft, where we have a high priority on Sergeant Hammer here on Towers of Doom, where Leftovers now for the 3rd time are drafting the hero for themselves with an insane priority, even first picking it.
Yeah, Hammer coming out as a first pick. My, how the times have changed here, as Europe is starting to really show this slow, controlled style that is becoming more and more popular. Method's going to have to figure out a way to break that. Good news is there are more options on Towers of Doom to play around that. You can be more sapper heavy, attempt to play more macro base as well, try to have the double soak going your way and break down the other bell towers.
So this is one of those things now where I'm actually a little bit torn on what we're seeing in the draft, because I like the Urel setup from Leftovers. I feel Urel has a massive impact in these games. The problem that I have is that Method actually decided to go into Muradin and Deckard Cain instead of picking Urel up for themselves. Because even if you say, hey, we're okay with another offlaner, I think the impact that Urel had for Leftovers needs to be respected and either be reflected in a ban or in an earlier pick. I would have liked that. But they decided to go for a first pick on Muradin, and this is something that is very very much Method, because Bad Benny is so strong on the hero and the team likes to play around his engages with Stormbolts. But I think you could have let Muradin go here because there's so many other tanks that he could have still picked. He's still a great hero, but you give up Urel, and I'm not sure if that was not a bad trade for them.
But the reflection is that you've also banned out the Diablo, so Muradin has to be a pickup that you go for, right? I mean, what other tank would you go for? Garrosh would fail really hard to Sergeant Hammer. Feels like if they didn't ban out Diablo, sure, you can go down that route.
But, but that's where it starts, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's part of the thought process for me, at least. Like, I would be very reluctant to give that Urel up.
Well,
but maybe they expected the Urel first pick and send out their entire draft around that. That might be one of the thought processes here.
True. Well, Phoenix and Thrall comes out, so we have the slow combos coming in here. For Method. Looking for their top lane. Oh, no, they have Thrall. So looking for what, ADR DC here?
Yes. I'm looking for ADRD now. I actually want to just note, Junkrat and Garrosh have insane displacement together with Urel. I mean, you can protect Hammer 6 days to Sunday. You throw targets away with Garrosh, you get the stun in, Malfurion roots to zone them out, Urel pushes them back, Junkrat and Mines. And now we have Nazeebo being picked. So basically the attempt to give leftovers a taste of their own medicine.
Late game, Nazeebo. Quickly becoming meta thanks to Hammer being here. A little bit harder to get stacks in this battleground. A little bit more spread out compared to 2 Meta Spider Queen. Doable.
No, the stack process is a bit tougher. Still doable, but also this is a map that traditionally lasts longer.
Yeah.
Just other maps.
You can give up the first couple of altars.
You stack slower than you stack on Tomb, where we saw him earlier. But the game is basically guaranteed to last longer, which allows you normally to get to 20 and then get the Viral Infection. But I have to say that I really like that Nazeebo makes his way in, because I feel he can deal with a lot of the stuff that is being picked these days a lot. Hammer being the prime example, but especially when we're looking towards the Eastern Clash in Korea, we've seen Nazeebo, I think, 2-3 times on Tomb with the Spider Queen, where of course these rotations allow you to get more stacks. So I like that it's a tool that teams are starting to use against certain compositions.
My question is, will it be enough? You have both Phoenix, Thrall, who have to get in close. The Earthquake obviously is a big thing too for Sergeant Hammer, but the control and displacement is a bit much here for leftovers, and also the poke around the altars means they can delay forever.
Game number 5 is going to feature some cool plays for sure. Linked this time on Malfurion. We're having Bleak Kidney on Junkrat. Porty Boss, he's playing Urel. Again, Mopsio with Garrosh. And DAB from Sergeant Hammer.
On the right, ADRD on Nazeebo, Curson on Deckard, Bad Benny on Murden, Ethereal on Thrall, and Nick on Phoenix. It's the final game between these two.
Coming into this, the one question that I have immediately again with Nazeebo is, what is the level 10 choice? We saw Gary played on Tomb of the Spider Queen, Gary the Gargantuan, and my question is simply, with Thrall and potential Sundering being played here, is it going to be the Ravenous Spirit? Because there's a couple of arguments even to be made again for Sundering, even with Phoenix in the composition. Normally you look at that and you're saying, yes, you want to have the slows, the Phoenix Salvo can get value off that. But we had a huge focus in the Korean meta towards Sundering, even with Phoenix compositions. So there's still arguments to be made that you could go for a flank attempt, especially since you want to get 2 hammers somehow. And if Thrall comes out of one of those bushes and can make that play, that's exactly what you could get. Then again, if you go for Earthquake, you don't only capitalize on the slows by Phoenix, but also with the Ravenous Spirit, you would be guaranteed to get a lot of damage in.
My only worry with Revenant Spirit is Riptire coming online for Junkrat. I can displace him, prevent that. Even in Concussion Mine, if you're able to get that put in there. Obviously, that puts Junkrat in a weird scenario. Yeah,
I absolutely agree with that. I just feel when you go for Revenant Spirit, you have to be sure that you can pull off the positioning that is required to get a good value out of that ult.
And if your opponent attempts to come stop you, you can punish them. And they do have Murden. They have Phoenix. Solid heroes in close range. DAB already exploiting that long range, though, as he works on this turret here on the right side, whittling it down.
He's trying to just set up the control on over the bot lane, and that is what you try to achieve with Sergeant Hammer here. Control the bot lane, control the mercenary camps.
And they'll control the bot lane and the mercenary camp at the same time. Junkrat's already starting the sappers here to the left side, and if they need to, they can bring Hammer over. But Hammer was working on clearing the waves. There we go. My question is, will we see an invade from the leftovers? Are they feeling frisky enough? They start to rotate over. There's Garrosh and Urel's in the middle. They certainly could.
And Bad Benny is actually doing a really good job with the Stormbolt quest here. Already sitting at 6, and nice damage against Malf. Linked in trouble, and he falls.
Yes. Frog's able to connect. Link gets taken out. But here comes Body Boss on the side, looking for that knockback, but ADRD was able to squeeze on by as Bad Benny steps over and looks for a Stormbolt.
Good Frostwolf here also from Thrall, making sure that he just locks them into the ground a bit longer. Both teams are actually working with a lot of CC in this game.
They are. Junkrat moving into the normal level 4 that you normally see. Treant coming online here for Malfurion on his 4, and then of course the typical Urel 4 pickup as well. Different spider build though, coming in for Nazeebo, moving straight into those Hex Trawlers, looking for that sustain.
This is still one of the talents that I'm torn on, and we discussed the talents on Tomb with the Spider Queen already. For your own self-sustain, it's really nice, and it can really be a huge talent to take in the Hero League. But you would expect that in a competitive game where you can heavily rely on your own support to be there for you, that we would instead see the Voodoo Ritual taken again, which we've seen in the previous game when Nazeebo was used onto.
Bad Benny anchoring for his team. Mopsy was thinking about moving in and interrupting the Sapper camp. The Sapper camp is grabbed. 3 altars up. We're already on this top right corner. Boom, there it is, and he should be able to rotate down.
Boom, there it is. First one taken up to the top. I mean, we don't have the quest completed on Sol yet on his level 1. The interrupt potential is, of course, there with those chain lightnings, but he needs 3 more stacks, and there they are. 320 in the game. He's able to complete the quest and get the second charge. So it's going to be a bit easier for him to control these channel attempts, and that's especially important for the control down here.
ADRD dropping the zombie wall on Sergeant Hammer, also dropping the spiders too, which finishes up that quest. Nick able to start moving up towards that altar, but the poke is an issue here. Leftovers with Junkrat, able to constantly drop out those grenades and make it hard to grab the channel. Means he typically have to move in for an aggressive flight, try and get a pick off, but it's pretty hard to do with the comp setup here for Leftovers.
I mean, Leftovers composition is just completely annoying. Look at that setup that they have here. They have continuous poke against channel attempts through Junkrat's grenades, through Sergeant Hammer, Malfurion with his Moonfire, and then you have also Urel who can jump in. And you can't even move into their position because there's mines everywhere, there's displacement available. It's absolutely crazy what the Leftovers have here to just interrupt any kind of coordinated attempt by Method to get a kill.
One thing going for Method is, one, they find the DAB and then catch him with the zombie wall. Sergeant Hammer gonna be feeling pretty bad about that one. But they also had the top lane pushing in.
Yeah, that must have actually been a weird one that they was able to catch him and that there was no attempt. Nice! I actually like ARD's play on these zombie walls. Even with Mopsio able to break through here, he's absolutely on point with them. I'm actually impressed.
Zombie God knows how to control creatures that have no brains, apparently. Drop against Ray onto targets, and boom. There's another pickup. Will we get this altar? There it is, another 4 shots. 36-32 in the lead. Method is.
Grabbed around 5 minutes into the game, so still pretty late and prolonging the game even more. This is one of those things where Method is going to say, okay, at least the game is going to last longer, we're going to get closer to our level 20, which is what we want to achieve in the first place. But yeah, ADRD with really nice moves here, and securing that kill against the Sergeant was highly important to grab that altar.
And with him delaying, his stacks right now are at 60. Not too shabby as he moved towards that level 8. Bad Benny continuing to grow Mopsio. Mopsio having a bit of a difficult time right here. Locked in with a zombie wall. Takes some pressure. Linked over the wall should be able to heal him up. But they're definitely feeling like they can't quite set up like you normally would see. DAB wanting to push forward with these sappers.
Yeah, the thing is, we talked a bit about the CC and also the space control for Leftovers, but it's not like a Method doesn't have any, right? There's Storm Bolts and the Frost Wolves to follow it up, and always Deckard Cain, so especially DAB needs to be careful.
Deckard Cain can force you to maybe burn that Unstoppable on Sergeant Hammer with the scroll coming out, and that allows for Nazeebo to step up, or of course Bad Benny to follow it up with that Storm Bolt. Mopsio on the front line keeps getting poked in, which gives time for Method to turn around and clear up this minion wave. Moving up in stacks again, moving towards that 70 as they clear up that entire wave.
Leftovers have a surprisingly tough time to establish control over the bot lane here. Not that you have to take down that bell tower immediately, but they are really struggling to get anything done here. Boss also intercepted in the rotation. Method is really making a lot of small but cool plays that make it very annoying for the Leftovers to be on the map.
What I like it too is they always grab these altars on the, or these sappers on the leader side of when an altar spawns, so at least they have that idea of pressure coming in, which forces the tension of Leftovers to back up and clear that up, allowing for them to step up and grab the altars. Sappers do get grabbed, but already we have someone down here in the bottom left, and DAB is quite the speed bump as he blocks Bad Benny moving forward, and Malfurion should be able to get the channel.
He's able to dodge out on the Storm Bolt, and that was important because he activated his level 4 a bit too early. So the altar is already channeled. It's a win for Leftovers here. They draw even in hit points on the core, and experience is also very, very close between the two teams here. Earthquake has been chosen, and again, Gary, the Korean variation of going into Ravenous Spirit that we have seen several times at the Eastern Clash, so far ignored by Europe, who just prefer to have Gary around. And I can understand it. I mean, Gary is a cool dude. He's a lot of fun.
Yeah, he's fun to get a pint with.
Yeah.
Do you like how I used pint? That's a European statement.
Not quite, but yeah. It's very UK.
I just want you to be proud
You're
of
very British here today, very sophisticated.
Thank you, thank you. Marvelous, brilliant.
Yeah, the thing is, if you would actually not think it, looking at the guy, but Gary has a story to tell.
Knows he?
Yeah, like he's a really interesting guy.
Tell me his story. I'm sure he's told you.
Huh?
Has he told you the story?
I mean, it's just like, you know what he actually studied when he went to university? When Blizzard sent him and educated him?
What did he study?
He's a rocket scientist.
Oh, really?
Caster man. First class.
He should cast. I'd watch him.
Seriously, you need to save me with this one. I'm trying to.
Twitch.tv/Gary.
What?
I'm gonna start cosplaying him. It'll get tons of views.
Yeah, you're fantastic. There's like some guy out there streaming under the name Gary. All of a sudden, all these people are coming in. I'm asking him how he came to play Heroes. He's like, what are you people talking about? Who are you?
I'd watch Gary. You would watch him, right?
Tim, be a little bit serious. Look at those spiders. Look at that Stormbolt. Look at that kill. Junkrat is eliminated.
Mopsio might be next too. The Lornado comes out. He'll pop the Indomitable to try and stay alive. Gets out a heal and a pretty massive taunt too. Here comes the Salvo as they try to take out Mopsio, but he's living. Not anymore though, as Garrosh will fall.
That was actually a little bit out of left field. I mean, it all started with the spider. Again, another kill. They go for the AB. They get the slow. That looked very much like Benny could have just auto-attacked him and killed him. Am I crazy?
It was winding up, and then of course a knockback came in.
Yeah, that was a bit odd, but still, that entire setup that we just saw, which led to this bell tower take and started with AD-RD dropping an entire spider setup onto Sergeant Hammer, and all of a sudden Muradin flanks in from the top. And I think leftovers are now just experiencing firsthand how incredibly annoying it can be when you're Sergeant Hammer and you're playing against a Nazeebo that just hits these spiders. AD-RD is really, really making DAB's life a living hell.
That and Kane just constantly topping out those scrolls, making it hard for you. You possibly have to pop your CC a little bit early. Junkrat just barely being out of position equals a kill. Method now jumps up in experience. They grab the Sappers. They're ahead in core shots, 32-28. Things are looking up. Looking over to stacks, 106 for AD-RD.
Yeah, the thing is, leftovers haven't gotten a single kill yet. And you talk about how Method is ahead in the game now. They have a composition which is going to become even stronger in the late game. So they are already winning in the mid game.
7 more levels. 20 connects. 16 is huge as well. That Soul Harvest has been big.
But again, it shows how much of a positive impact for your draft Nazeebo can be in the right draft and composition even before 20.
Mopsio might be able to get a kill here, though. They go for Nick, and Nick is taken out. The BFG is able to connect, and here comes the Earthquake. Link is locked down, but into the fray will keep him alive.
Great move against the Thero here. The body blocks are definitely strong, and the displacement that we have for leftovers is fantastic, and they get a Thero completely locked down. That was a great follow-up that we saw from Junkrat here, grenading him back into the bell tower, and a second kill follows. And this is the problem. If you're up against the Hammer composition and you start losing heroes, all of a sudden your opponent has an extremely cool setup to take those structures. 2
kills and 2 altars to grab. Leftovers will start the channel. Yrel and Malfurion. Sergeant Hammer setting up to siege upon the fort. Method has to defend that. Murden's buying some time on the top side, trying to slow down this altar from being grabbed. Ooh, but he misses the thunderclap. Has to step up and get the auto attack.
Yeah, and here comes Curson, but Mopsio is also close by. The Lornado comes through, and that saves Curson at least for now, but we have everyone else starting to funnel in too. Thrall is on his way. He might just make it in time, but the zoning is strong. Potiboss is definitely controlling the space here together with Junkrat's grenade, and that secures a second altar in this objective phase for leftovers, and they are again ahead.
28-24. It's something that you normally see. These bell towers are getting lower and lower, usually being chunked down over time. Nothing too much in terms of macro. Both these teams are having a hard time stepping up on each other's fronts.
It's really problematic for Sergeant Hammer to siege up against the bell tower with AD-RD being willing to sacrifice the Gargantuan every time that it happens. So they have to deal with it first, and that buys the time for the dead heroes to come back and help out with the defense. So as he said, really tough for both teams to establish bot lane control.
Burning gets tossed, locked down into a trap. Bad Benny jumps in, waiting for Nick to put out the damage. Here comes the Riptire, but Method kites backwards.
Nice hit with the Riptire, but Method already on the way back, as he said. And that's big cooldowns burned again. The Riptire and BFG were both used in that encounter. It's a nice back and forth game. The leftovers have taken a small lead in experience, but this is definitely worthy of a 5th game so far. A lot of back and forth fights here, with Method heavily relying on AD-RD pushing out the damage and controlling the placements of Sergeant Hammer.
But with those kills and Yrel double soaking during that entire fight, leftovers find themselves with a lead in experience as they move towards that level 16. And with a 3 altar phase coming, that 16 is going to be pivotal for them. Bad Benny looking to make a splash though as he comes in with the Stormbolt and fights Kidney, but Potiboss there to defend.
Benny has been really far out there. He's always trying to get that setup going for not only AD-RD to follow up, but also for a Thero to be able to move in with the Wolf and maybe even drop the Earthquake to initiate the team fight.
Leftovers making the play. Maybe pull somebody in underneath this tower, but with 4 standing firm, Method is going to defend.
And again, they move in, they try to go for the bell tower, and the first thing that happens is that AD-RD moves in with Nazeebo, drops Gary the Gargantuan just on top of him, and forces leftovers back. And just say, no, you're not going to take this bell tower from us. It's not happening.
1-for-1 trade in the top side. One ultra to the south to be grabbed between both of our teams. Method is stepping up, but Sergeant Hammer is trying to reset up and establish dominance. Mopsio with a toss to go for a stun, as ADRD is looking for those angles that you keep mentioning.
Yeah, and currently Leftovers are having a surprising difficulty controlling that space, considering all the displacement that they have here. But Polyboss is now moving in as well, trying to secure that position. But Bad Benny is already in a spot where he can start channeling. Not quite, as DAB is moving forward.
Yeah, Benny holding that front line well, though. Stormbolt connects into a scroll. Ethereal gets some zapping in. Mopsio's coming in, though, and he has that taunt available. He wants to find a target. Same time, Tranquility used.
Yeah, Lornado also coming in. The Earthquake is already on the ground as they're trying to go for Urel, but she still has the Ardent Defender here. Hasn't popped that yet. It's going to come through any second, and here we have it. They're trying to go straight for Thrall, and the taunt is strong.
Thrall just gets locked down, but Nick with the massive salvo will force the Leftovers to back up. Lakitni and Link are low on health, but Link should be able to top them off. Mopsio continuing to hold that front line, steps up, looks at Bad Benny.
They're going for Benny right now. Mopsio is low and so is Link, but Lakitni is coming back after just going straight for the fountain here. They go for Benny. Mopsio is also low. Nick is looking for the kill, but he just can't find that last auto attack.
ADRD is putting some decent damage out, but DAB has been uncontested, full of health and full of life. He auto attacks any target in the way, and there goes a Muradin.
Giant Killer is just so strong at this point for him, taking the Dwarf out easy peasy with that 16 talent, and now they want to go for that Bell Tower finally.
Bell Tower should start to fall. ADRD doing everything he can to defend it. Urel threatening the idea of diving onto Nick. But with Curson there to provide potions, Ponybus is not going to move forward. And that Bell Tower will stand with a sliver of health.
They still hold on to it, but now Method is down to 16 points on the core against the 24 on the leftover side. That 16 talent with Sergeant Hammer in particular really helped them in that last team fight. It makes Muradin's life so difficult at that front line.
But at least we're guaranteed a late game, right? 24 to 16 right now. Method can afford to take a couple more shots. Typically at a 2 ultra phase, you go for a 1-for-1 trade, especially with the zoning available for both of our teams. So that means we will be getting Nazeebo at a level 20.
And then the big question, can Malfurion really deal with that situation? Because the Voodoo Ritual is already at 168 stacks. He will have the 175 for the level 20. So that's not going to be in question. But Method needs another 2.5 level to that point.
Method continues to defend their bell tower. They're sitting close to falling. Garrosh even tossing one sapper in there with into the fray.
Good move.
And finally, Leftovers have broken this bottom lane, and a perfect timing too. Altars activate in 25 seconds.
Yeah, and that is now the situation that you are trying to avoid. The bot lane control established allows Leftovers to send those mercenary camps straight for the core, and Method is going to have to deal with that somehow. Benny still moving in with another Stormbolt here. Didn't go for Perfect Storm, has Third Wind on level 1, so he doesn't help with the stacking anymore. He already completed his quest earlier, but he's still able to get some damage in and see if maybe someone can follow it up, especially Nazeebo with spider damage.
Leftovers setting up in the top right, wanting to grab both these altars. A total of 10 shots coming in. With Nazeebo on the bottom lane, they can definitely contest the area. Bad Benny comes around for a flank. Again, buying more time. Nazeebo will rotate up.
There could be a taunt, and we have it. DAB with the ult, and that's a triple hit. Great play by him. Earthquake comes through. The Lornado is there too. Nick in the backline can't really find the engage at this point, but he still gets the 3-man salvo off.
Curson keeping everyone alive with those heals, though, and the scrolls connecting. Polyboss without the Ardent Defender is getting low, though, and Polyboss may fall. The Spiders nibble, and they get the kill.
Spiders take him down with the help of Thrall, and that's a great kill for Method. They're down to 11 points on the core, but Method with another channel can at least take 3 down of their opponents. 21 against 11, the score in a second here, as we're having Phoenix already with a bit of work towards that bot lane bell tower.
21 to 11, winner takes all. Leftovers hoping to tie it up against Method in the standings. Method, on the other hand, is building towards that level 20. They have the time. They are a full level behind, but that Vial Infection is ready to go. 187 stacks.
I also have to talk a bit about Curson here, because Muradin and Thrall have been they have been pushing the fight so far back that Curson was always able to move in very deep and get fantastic zones off. When he was trying to go for the seals here, he did so much to just threaten Mopsio in particular. And that's actually great play from him, making it very difficult for Leftovers to establish any kind of position here. So Curson having a massive impact currently in these team fights.
Anytime you can make Garrosh have a poor time in the match, it's usually a good time in my book, right?
Yeah.
And being able to land those scrolls and lock him down and allow for this Nazeebo poke to put Momsio in a low spot is making a large playmaker for Leftovers have a difficult time.
And the same is also true against DAB. It's tough for him to really be in that situation because he has a limited amount of escape tools available through his Unstoppable with the Neo Steel coding on level 4 and also his boosters, his thrusters. And, I mean, again, Alpha Wolf on Thrall, once he connects with anyone here and you have Nazeebo to follow that up and the Stormbolt, there is no super burst heal through Malfurion. It's all heal over time, but you need to buy that time somehow.
Yes, you do. Now 20 about to connect from Method. They're trying to buy time to get that 20. Bad Benny already positioned to watch the bush on the top left. DAB does stay here on the bottom right. They're looking for an opportunity to maybe pick off ADRD. Would love to grab that kill. And if they can't get him, at least they have Sappers starting to push in the bottom lane.
Yeah, so once again now also Serenity taken on level 20 for Malfurion. That helps him with a bit of cooldown reduction. And also, it's the additional healing that really can help to offset the power that is going to come through in this Evo on 20. That was action. I did not think that he would be able to get that off.
Just a little too late. Nick able to grab the altar. And Nazeebo might be down here just in time to clear up these Sappers. He's running down on his golden rooster, and he'll clear it up.
Yeah, and now we have a level 20 on him. While Infection is in play. He has it ready, and this is the time when Leftovers know, okay, we are going to have a bit of a tough ride here from here on out. 18 on the core of the Leftovers against 7 on the side of Method.
And the next altar phase is going to be a 2 altar phase. This is getting spicy between our teams. Bad Benny keeping an eye on this boss, wants to make sure Leftovers don't sneak it at any point. Again, setting up on that area will allow for them to sneak it away if Method is in a situation where they're clearing Sappers or working on the bottom lane.
There is no global in this game. Nothing where you can sneak it too much. Mopsio is eating a lot of spider damage here though, and that's exactly the problem. I mean, just look at how low he already is in HP. Yep. That's really the biggest problem here. The viral infection of Nazeebo is just brutal to deal with.
Especially with the slows coming out from Nick. Spiders continue to grab the damage. Here's the Sappers. Grabbed up. Same time, look at the top lane.
The boss play.
Yaros and Euro thinking about making it, but Method's fully aware of it.
Yeah, and they're going for the rotation. I don't know if Leftovers have really enough time for this.
There's no way. Stormbolt comes out, they have to back up. They do. 2 ultras spawning up, 25 seconds.
Good job by Method, I like it. I really like it a lot. And Leftovers are now starting to rotate down, but this is where the big team fight is going to happen.
End of the late game we go, and ADRD is leading the charge. Bad Benny steps in, finds Sergeant Hammer, finds Garrosh. Those are the 2 important targets you gotta find.
I mean, Benny is so far out here. And again, the Spiders connect. It's always the setup. Stormbolt into Spiders the entire time. ADRD is playing this patient. And that's something, again, we're coming back to improving your own play too. Wait for your tank to make the engage happen and then follow up on these CCs, on the crowd control. And that's what he's doing.
Gargantuan dropped on the altar to delay Leftovers. He put 4 down here to work on that channel. Phoenix and Thrall work together to grab the top altar. So we have a few shots go over to Leftovers, 14-7. Here's the taunt, or an engaged taunt is still up.
And Ethereal is already moving in. They're trying to go for Hammer. The salvo comes out. Good damage against Mopsio here. He's already on half HP, but the fountain is ready for them, and they're trying to use it to their advantage. ADRD with the attempt to channel, but the BFG interrupts it.
The Riptire is making a big splash. Comes in, hits Nick, Ethereal, and Curson. 3 taking damage.
They're going for it again. They're trying to interrupt at Benny here.
Lakini keeps up the grenades, trying to delay.
The entire pro constantly coming through DAB.
Watch Mopsio, though. He's the one that has to make the play while DAB shells away.
Body boss jumping around, looking for a chance to jump in deep.
But the Spiders, it's too much. Mopsio gets hit by 1 spider as it goes down to half health.
Benny again with a Stormbolt attempt here, but already Boss is deep.
Thero goes in for the wolf. Body boss thinking about jumping with that Avenging Wrath.
The level 20 cleanse is so strong now for Urel. They're trying to go again for Benny, and Benny's in trouble.
But the Spiders, they just keep coming in. Bad Benny turns around and gets a Stormbolt while DAB tempts the channel.
Mopsio is so low. Both of the tanks are really suffering here, but Mopsio is about to fall here if he doesn't pay attention.
Mopsio needs healing. Here's the Lornado. He's in a corner.
And again, the Stormbolt misses. Bad Benny misses the Stormbolt. This is the chance for the Leftovers to make a play.
But Gary on the backside doing damage left and right. Mopsio, he is low. The Spiders, they get him.
Thrall takes him down, and at this point, again, the leftovers in full retreat, and Method is on full health, trying the lockdown here. Linked in trouble, and he's gonna fall.
That's gonna be 2. Method gets the channel. They should be able to grab this here. They have all 5, and they are fighting back in the late game. 14-7 right now. 4 more shots will put leftovers down to 10.
They got both of the altars, and they are in a situation where they're only on 7 points, but that level 20 is making their entire attack so powerful, and they don't only stop at the altar. They go straight in and get that bell tower as well. Arguably, they should have delayed the channel so that they get the extra point.
They're looking for another. Even going straight for the bolt there to try and lock down Blakitny, but Blakitny gets away. Can start to shell away on top of that bell tower at the bottom left. Urel dealing with the wave that pushed in, but Method, they don't want to stop. They move in for the sappers.
They take the camp now, and now they are establishing the bot lane control that leftovers fought for so hard earlier on. Already, DAB, I mean, just look at his hit point bar the entire time. A spider colony is on him, and he just gets chunked down to 30% HP.
In that moment, he looks up and realizes that Malfurion is still dead. He has to back all the way back home just to get healed up, taken down to a quarter. But the sappers, they're starting to be led in one by one. Scroll Ceiling comes out, and DAB is able to not help his teammate as Polybus gets destroyed.
He goes down, and again, it's just the spiders. You could see how he was even afraid to step forward to push those sappers back because he realized that's not going to happen.
Wait!
Mopsio with a play attempt. They take down Thrall. Can they get more? Mopsio himself is low. They keep him alive long enough, but Nick actually is 20 proccing here as he nearly tall.
Unconquered spirit keeping alive. Curson almost picked off as well. Only Thrall to be cleaned up, but Mopsio makes the play when he has to.
Urel dies, and then Mopsio just goes on for the backpack and is starting to carry his team here. Throws in not only Thrall, but also starts to threaten the rest of Method here. And now it's again one single altar on the map, and we have leftovers flanking. And with Thrall gone, they feel they have a chance here.
They think they have some, but Mopsio on the front line is having a troublesome time already. Goes for a combo to get the shield. Malfurion trying to keep him alive. Nick goes in for the last auto attack, but ADRD, he makes the power play. He comes out the bottom right and sits next to the altar.
DAB nearly body blocking Mopsy to death here. Couldn't move out fast
enough.
Stormbolt, of course, but here comes the kill attempt against Junkrat, and he goes down once again. Nazeebo making the work.
4 more shots on the core here for leftovers. If Method can get this channel, they'll end this game. They will have come back. Leftovers doing everything they can to slow it down. Urel has spawned, is on her way.
At the Western Clash, Method lost to leftovers.
Salvo!
Sweep, but here they're trying to turn it around. The salvo damage, Hammer goes down, and Mopsio is also low. He's starting dancing, accepting defeat as Nazeebo drops the zombie wall. Mopsio is gonna fall after Malfurion bites the dust. This is gonna be game as we have Method claiming victory in the best of 5 here. They lost at the Western Clash, but here in League play, Method are the victorious team against the leftovers here at Towers of Doom.
Method gets revenge from the Western Clash, puts them in a great spot when it comes to standings. They go up one more notch in the win as they move towards BlizzCon, but boy, Leftovers and Method are starting to become a series that I am tuning in for every single time.
That was fantastic. The late game, Nazeebo, definitely the linchpin in the strategy of Method. Before that, we saw already great play from Method. In the early game, in the mid game, but it was really the late game that sold it because we had Leftover starting to take control over the bottom lane, but then the level 20 ability on Nazeebo is kicking in, and all of a sudden, Malfurion is just not able to deal with that damage output.
The ability to surprise your opponent with a well-placed Spider or Toads in the middle of a team fight can really just surprise them and make them pull backwards. We saw it multiple times for Garrosh. I mean, Urel did not think she was in a spot where she could be killed there.
And the important thing to note here is also, it's so important that he doesn't miss. If he starts to miss just 1 or 2 of these cooldowns, then you have an opening. All of a sudden, Leftovers are saying, hey, he just completely whiffed the Corpse Spiders. Now we have a chance to move in and dish that damage out. I actually was convinced for a moment that Muradin might fall when he started to whiff a Stormbolt in the bottom fight against Mopsio. It really looked for a second as if that's the opening that they needed, and they tried to capitalize on it. But then it's just a bit too much damage that comes from Nazeebo. And it was a fantastic game here again.
To add on top of that, the slows as well. You have to roll with the Earthquake. You have Phoenix providing his own slows as well. That gives more room for Nazeebo to hit those
Yeah.
important skill shots. And of course, you got Decker King with the Sapphires. Having every single one of your teammates in a spot where they can set up Nazeebo is a recipe for success. And we saw it by ADRD.
And one of the important things here is also that a big thought process was, of course, to pick Nazeebo against Sergeant Hammer. That's what we've seen Leftovers do in the previous game on Tomb of the Spider Queen. And I think nothing visualized that more than in that late game after the Violent Faction came online. Just see those spiders connect with the AB on Sergeant Hammer and him all of a sudden losing 60% of his hit point pool. That was absolutely crazy. Every time that connected, he immediately had to back out there and he couldn't deal any damage anymore.
So are you convinced? Is Nazeebo the answer to Sergeant Hammer in the meta currently here?
I think it's a answer.
Yeah.
Like there's more to the draft than only seeing a Hammer and answering with Nazeebo. There's a little bit more that happens here, obviously. And it also is, to an extent, map dependent. Tomb, great because you can get a lot of stacks,
Yeah.
and you try to buy the time until level 20. I feel on Tomb, when you're trying to counter that, you can make always the argument with Web Weavers and Hammer, plus maybe a bit more wave clear, you can try and snowball it early. And then on towers, you have the guaranteed late game that you get out of it. But I feel, depending on composition and map, he's definitely a answer that can come in to counter Sergeant Hammer now.
Today, he was the answer as Method gets the victory 3-2. And we have Kirsten here to celebrate said victory. Kirsten, congratulations on your victory today. Do you enjoy the revenge that you got on the Leftovers from what we saw at the Western Clash? Also, nice mustache, by the way.
Oh yeah, thanks. It's enjoyable for sure. It's also a very close series, and it feels good to win when you know that it's on even footing.
Is this starting to become a rivalry between you two, or do you think Leftovers right now are just in a really good strength and they're just giving everyone a run for their money?
I think right now they are like extremely good when they get their comfort picks,
Yeah.
and it's enough of it that you can't like easily just deny something. So if this keeps going, then yes, they are like a really good team for sure. So it's rough.
Awesome. Always good to hear your thoughts. Over to Caldor.
Screw the mustache. Is that the official mascot now for Method?
It's at least my official fangirl, you know,
Is it,
always cheering me on.
okay? What's the name of the what's the name of the Method mascot?
It's still Bumby.
It's what?
Bumby,
Bumby.
you know, like the dare.
Okay. I want to see more Lunara bands now. So okay, but yeah, coming back to the series here. Nazeebo, talk to me a little bit about it. We've seen him in Korea. Was that where Nazeebo came in? Were you from the beginning planning on using Nazeebo against Sergeant Hammer, or was it just something where once that Leftovers pulled it out onto the Spider Queen, you guys realized, hey, this is actually something we can do too, and was more on a fly adjustment?
We had played it before. I don't remember who did it first. It just sort of like came up and it was good, and people just kept playing it and it worked. So, you know, that's it really.
Were you guys at any point in the last game worried that you might lose after you realized this game is definitely going to go to 20? Or did you feel that once you hit the power spike on Nazeebo, you're definitely going to take that?
We were confident that if we get to the late game with all of the 20 spikes we had with the Deckard pots and the Nazeebo buff, it would be like quite easy to like win over time. They would have to go in on us, which is not that great for Hammer. So we were just like wanting to stall the entire game really.
When we're looking at the standings at this point, do you feel that you guys have, I mean, obviously you're one of the contenders for the number 2 or even the number 1 spot, depending on how part 2 of phase 2 goes now for a direct qualification for BlizzCon. Who do you think are your biggest rivals to secure one of those spots?
I mean, if you look at it right now, it's probably Fnatic, Leftovers, or Liquid, but I think out of those 3, Leftovers looking really good, and Fnatic will, like, if they step up their synergy as it seems, then they're also good, and we will see with Liquid so far. So I think Leftovers are the roughest right now, at least.
All right, awesome. Thank you very much.
Kirsten, we've been looking at everyone's schedules with the players, and we'd ask them what their favorite matches or the matches they're looking forward to, but I'm going to switch it up on you. I want to know, on this schedule that's about to come up for you, what are the easy victories in your eyes?
I mean, the Monkeys seem pretty easy,
I mean,
you know?
you're facing them next. Are you ready for that?
Yeah. It's hype.
Simple and easy. All right, then, man. I'm going to go ahead and let you go. The Monkeys will be your next match, so I'm going to let you prepare for that. But before you leave, shout-outs are yours.
Well, shout out to Method, my sponsor. Shout out to my girl here, always enjoying it. To my mom, my dad, to my team, they played really well. Remember, guys, don't do drugs. Stay in school. And see you next week.
Uplifting shoutouts coming in from Kirsten. Kirsten and crew get a victory today as they win 3-2 over the Leftovers. But I gotta agree with Kirsten and sentiment. Leftovers are looking strong, and they're gonna be one that we have to continue to watch out for.
I love how unimpressed that dog is.
Yeah, he's just like, oh, whatever.
That
Here to
dog
be
just
fluffy.
doesn't care. It just sits there and is like, I'm getting patted right now. I'm happy.
I like to imagine the puppy was actually napping, and Kirsten ran in. I just want a game. The puppy's like, whatever. I just want to sleep. I just want to chill.
At one point, I was asking myself, like, is this thing really alive? Is that a
I
plush
didn't wanna
puppy?
say that.
And then it actually starts moving. And I was like, okay, that's actually a
Alright.
real dog. It's not just a plush toy.
All right, well, we're all done with this series. We got another one coming at you as Dignitas takes on Fnatic. Damage to tanks. Here we go. Full fight happening.
Oh
but the
my
back
God.
line is in trouble. Ethereal comes in from the left and applies some damage. Mobsteel steps up to try and buy some time for his team while Urel controls the point.
And Urel, here comes again, the Indestructible being used. Urel already down, the root attempt by Ling, but he himself finds himself now locked down by Decade. The second kill comes through. Whitemane is dead, and Mopsio is falling to a triple kill for Method as they're going for the quad. Dropping Phoenix, a fantastic coordination again. Chance that the Leftovers have been waiting for.
The Immortal continues to get focused down, and Bad Benny has to make a play. He jumps in and he goes for the Stormbolt. Mobsteel controls space. Here comes the taunt, and Bad Benny is done. Podybus jumps in as he looks for more.
Bad Benny down, and that comes at the cost of him losing, so not hitting the Stormbolt. Kirsten also dying here. Genji moving in again, but here's AD already nearly stunned out by Garrosh.
Is in the lead when it comes to gems. 43 out of the 70 they need for a turn-in.
They go again. Oh my god, look for Benny here. Benny is getting chunked by DAB on his cooldown and Nazeebo, and he's just down. A perfect setup. The trap is true. Podybos in that backline without defender. And DAB again going in. He gets the kill. Down they go. Deckard is dead. Urel falls, but Blaze is also down. Gul'dan, though, eliminated as we have a bloodbath in the mid lane. Comes Garrosh. This is actually not set yet.
Is Bad Benny
Garrosh!
time?
Oh, it's so close, but he doesn't get it.
He finds Malfurion, though. Can they take him out? BFG comes out. They're focused down Link. Link with the Tranquility is staying alive. Mobsteel comes in for the combo, too. Link is dancing. He's trying to stay here. Nick comes in with a salvo. So at least they kill Malfurion, but the boss, it keeps moving.
And Podybos takes down Sergeant Hammond. That was important because actually a little bit of a weird engage.
DAB was like, okay. Mobsteel goes in. Behind the Zerg wave, BFG comes in afterwards. 2 ADRD is able to sidestep, but Blakidney goes for the chase. And Bad Benny with the punish.
Bad Benny's playing this so well. The tanks are really suffering here, but Mopsio is about to fall here if he doesn't pay attention.
Mobsteel needs healing. Here's the Lornado. He's in a corner.
And again, the Stormbolt misses. Bad Benny misses the Stormbolt. This is the chance for the Leftovers to make a play.
But Gary on the backside doing damage left and right. Mobsteel, he is low. The Spiders, they get him.
Thrall takes him down, and at this point, again, the Leftovers in full retreat, and Method is on full health, trying the lockdown here. Linked in trouble, and he's gonna fall.
That's going to be 2. Investigate healed up, taken down to a quarter, but the Sappers, they're starting to be led in one by one. Scroll Ceiling comes out, and DAB is able to not help his teammate as Podybus gets destroyed.
He goes down, and again, it's just the Spiders. You could see how he was even afraid to step forward to push those Zappers back because he realized that's not gonna happen.
Wait!
Mopsio with a play attempt. They take down Thrall. Can they get more? Mopsio himself is
Oh
low.
my.
They keep him alive long enough, but Nick actually is 20 blocking here as he nearly tall.
He sits next to the altar.
DAB nearly body blocking Mopsio to death here. Couldn't move out fast enough.
Stormbolt.
Of course, but here comes the kill attempt against Junkrat, and he goes down once again. Nazeebo making the work.
4 more shots on the core here for Leftovers. If Method can get this channel, they'll end this game. They will have come back. Leftovers doing everything they can to slow it down. Urel has spawned, is on her way.
At the Western Clash, Method lost to Leftovers.
Salvo.
Sweet, but here they're trying to turn it around. The salvo damage, Hammer goes down, and Mopsio is also low. He's starting dancing, accepting defeat as Nazeebo drops the zombie wall. Mopsio is gonna fall after Malfurion bites the dust. This is gonna be game as